heard it many times before. And it's kind of interesting. I don't know. I didn't do a study on how, except that talent was a word for a money term. But he uses this thing called talents. He says, again, it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted his wealth to them. To one he gave 5 bags of gold, to another 2 bags, and to another 1 bag, each according to his ability. And then he went on his journey. The man who received 5 bags of gold went at once and put the money to work. And what happened? He gained 5 more. And so also the one with 2 bags of gold, he gained 2 more. But the man who had 1 bag went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. And after a long time, the master of those servants returned and settled accounts with them. And the man who had received 5 bags of gold brought in 5 others. He invested it, and he got a return for his money. He increased the wealth for the master. The master, he says, you entrusted me 5 bags of gold. See, I have gained 5 more. And his master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share in your master's happiness. The man with 2 bags of gold also came. Master, he said, you entrusted me with 2 bags of gold. See, I have gained 2 more. His master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. Then the man with 1 bag of gold came. Master, he says, I knew that you are a hard man, harvesting where you have not sown and gathering where you have not scattered seed. So I was afraid, and I went out and hid your gold in the ground. See, here's what I have. What belongs to you? So the master should be happy, right? Because he got his money back. No. What does he say? You wicked, lazy servant. So you knew that I harvested where I have not sown and gathered where I have not scattered seed. Well, then you should have put my money on deposit with the banker so that when I returned, I would have received it back with interest. So take the bag of gold from him and give it to the one who has 10 bags. For whoever has will be given more, and they will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them, and throw that worthless servant outside into the darkness where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. There's consequences for us not using the gift that God has blessed us with. And I tell you that if you want to glorify God, how many of you believe that God has given everybody a spiritual gift? Everyone. Some of you might not think that you have a gift. Well, maybe you need to talk to one of the elders or somebody that you can trust in, a good and faithful servant that has used their gifts for the Lord. And say, you know, I don't know what my gift is. What is my gift? Well, I ask you this question: what do you enjoy doing? What is something that is your passion? We talked about that last week. And use that passion for the glory of God. You know, I heard of a church that somebody enjoyed spinning yarn. So how can you use spinning yarn for the glory of God? Well, you know what? Let's have a class on teaching people how to spin yard in church. And so they invited all, advertised and had all these people come, and they were having fellowship. They had a chance to learn about the other people, become friends with them. If you really want to have an effect on people, you got to get to the point where you find out what their interest is and have fellowship with them. You see, so many times we expect the people to just come in the door and learn about Jesus and get baptized. But you know what? The best way to bring other people in here is to develop friendships with other people, care about people, show God's love to them unconditionally, not expect them, so many times they, you do this, I'm not going to be your friend. No, love them where they're at. Care for them. Care for their needs. And you know what? In your life, allow God to be glorified. And when you allow God to be glorified in your life, they're going to say, this Jesus is real for that person. I want that Jesus. And they will start coming and having fellowship. And they too will come to know this Jesus and allow the fruit of the Spirit to work in their lives, their gifting, to reach out to other people. One thing that I learned at the seminar, whatever you want to call it, conference, that the churches are really declining in America today. And it's hard to energize the youth to go to a Bible college. Nebraska Christian College has declined greatly. And they were hurting financially. And Hope University in California is now going to be taking over Nebraska Christian College. Summit Christian College is about to get accredited, and they're struggling. But in order to get their accreditation, they have to have $400,000 in the reserve to be able to do this. And Dave tells me that they're basically month to month until the golf tournament, and then they have an abundance for about 3 months, and then they're going month to month again, and then in the fall time, they have their praise banquet, and then they have a little bit of money again. But in order to get it fully accredited, they have to have $400,000 in reserve. And I thought, what's happening to America? And when I see parents that are discouraging their kids to go to Bible college because there's no money in it, that really saddens me. But all the Bible colleges and all the education is nothing compared to what an individual can do to allow God to be glorified in their lives and to win the world for Jesus. And it's kind of interesting because Anita put a little note and said, well, you should kind of preach on this. Because a lot of times, just like on Palm Sunday, right? They're over there praising God. Hosanna! Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. And they get all excited and they're fully on board to serve the Lord, right? And a week later, they turn against him. How often do you see that happen? Maybe it's something that you've done. You get all excited about the Lord. You get all convicted and you say, you know what? Hosanna. May the name of the Lord be praised in my life. May he be glorified. And how finicky we can get. Just like the Israelites, right? After they seen the sea divided, walk through on dry ground. Not muddy ground, but dry ground. And seeing God work in a mighty way. Just seeing can you imagine being there, seeing the pillar of cloud by day and the fire at night, and just seeing the manna fall from heaven and the quails provided for them to eat and God providing water, all these things. And yet, doubt God's glory. In the same way, we see the mighty hand of God working too. Yet, we doubt it. And we don't glorify Him through our actions. Some of you heard this story before, but the first year I went up to British Columbia for a young lad camp, there's this family, this man here, Roger Hill. He has this printing company, well-to-do man, and he tells me that he goes to Hawaii on the North Shore every year, takes his employees, takes them for a vacation, and he talked about knowing my pastor. I mean, what are the chances of that happening, right? And then he goes away and he comes back later and he says, Russell, my parents took you to Sunday school when you were little. Well, come to turn out, I found out that it was my older brothers. That this couple, every day, stopped by our house and took the time to take my brothers to Sunday school. And that's how our family started going to church, because this one couple. And that's how we started going to the Christian school. And if it wasn't for his parents, I probably wouldn't be here today. But they have allowed God to be glorified in their life, and they will never know the results of what they have done throughout their lifetime in doing what God has asked them to do. A simple gift of being helpful in taking two Japanese boys, to church every Sunday. A simple thing like that. You never know the results of your labor. And when I think about my pastor and his wife, Glenn and Ruth Powell Still, I think about what Gail told me a while back. She keeps on bringing it up, right? Then when she was little, she remembers the Owen Still mission. The couple that started all the Christian churches on Oahu. That she remembers them talking about their mission to Hawaii. And she gave her money to help support, and her church gave money to help support the mission. And you know what? Again, if it wasn't for people like Gail and the people of her congregation supporting the ministry of this missionaries, I may not be here today. Rob and Sue Carney. I don't know Sue, but Rob was a kid that we used to take camping. He remembers this, and I don't remember him going on the trip, but we went to take a bunch of boys to Kauai on a hiking trip. And sometime in my ministry, in talking to him, I encouraged him to go into the ministry. He said I told him that he would be a minister someday. Today he's an associate pastor of a large church in Oregon called Garden Way Church. And he said that because I spoke something to his life, encouraged him to go into the ministry, and now he's ministering to other people. Just yesterday, when I was over in Curtis, Nebraska, of all places, right? I read this name tag on this lady, and it said Deb Coffee. And I just happened to ask her, are you related to the Coffees in Scottsbluff? Are you related to Tony Coffey? And I remember when I first moved to Scottsbluff back in 1991, I lived on 1917 3rd Avenue, one of Ron Ritchie's houses. And right across the street was this couple. And Tony was getting educated by Mormonism. And I went over there and talked to him about that and placed some doubts of this Mormonism in his mind. Now, these two have been divorced since, but Tony is an active member over at Westway Christian Church. And Deb is now, she has a family that has started going over to Paris Christian Church, where John States actually is ministering now. And some of you know that John States' dad was a member of this congregation. You know, it's just so awesome how in the family of God there's all these connections all over the world. And you will find that you will have connections that you allow God to be glorified in your life. And when I think about it, who else is there to serve than the God who created you? The God who created everything that we have on this earth to experience. The beauty, our own bodies. And He created us for a purpose, that He would be glorified through our lives. I'd like to play this one song. And I'm hoping that this song refers